What is going on, everybody? John Impemba here with Henry Wilson. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook Live Show. We are looking at the Tuesday 9-game main slate over on DraftKings. Our guy Henry was on today's playbook, so you can go check that out live over at fantasyalarm.com right now. We appreciate all of you who tune in each and every day. If you want to go ahead and give that like, share, subscribe button a click, that certainly is a free way to support the work we do here. Henry, clean day. No cores, no weather. How are we feeling about things today, man?
Yeah, feeling great. Weather's been a nightmare recently, so really awesome to have like a full 9-game slate with no weather. It's a little shame some of the early games have some of our best pitchers of the day, like Tariq Skubal, George Kirby, Hunter Green, Yusei Kikuchi, all pitching amazing, all great strikeout guys. Not on the slate, but still got some great games, so it should be a fun one.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have the 640 today, so sticking us here. But as you said, some good matchups overall that we'll break down for you. I got Justin in the chat saying good afternoon. Keith in the show as well. Appreciate you tuning in each and every day for us here. Let's just dive into the fun here. We got 9 games to talk about on this slate. Top priced starting pitchers: Michael King at $9,500. We have Seth Lugo, $9,300. Joe Boyle at $9K, seemingly an odd price for that matchup for him there. Yeah. Thoughts here on this pitching matchup, the top price guys?
Michael King is the clear top guy here. Again, with a lot of the best pitchers of the day not in the slate, like he is the clear best pitcher out here. He has the best strikeout upside of anyone by far, I think. He's got great win potential going against Pittsburgh. He's super reliable. He brings the upside. In a kind of rough pitching slate after him, I have a hard time not paying up when it's only $9,500 for Michael King. I just think he's very obviously the best one out here.
Agreed with you 100%. Keith in the chat asking about White Sox. Obviously, they were the big surprise of last night's slate, with Louis Heel being a -150 favorite to get a win yesterday, and the Yankees being -320 favorites over on the money line to get blown out, giving up double-digit points runs there. Nestor Cortez, though, a pitcher that has been struggling. He struggles on the road. It's still the White Sox. Do they have 2 games in them like this? Did the Chicago White Sox have it in them to run it back?
No, I can get the thought process of like, wow, the White Sox just blew up Luis Heel, a way better pitcher than Nestor Cortez. Like, maybe let's ride the hot hand. But the White Sox are just bad. They're not going to keep doing this. They're really bad against lefties. Post the All-Star break, their WRC plus against lefties is 53. Yeah. Like, that's abysmal.
Yeah.
So, no, even though, Cortez has kind of been struggling recently, but look, he's been great at home all season. This White Sox team is still terrible despite what they did yesterday. I'm riding with Nestor Cortez. I think he can bounce back here and get plenty of strikeouts, shut down this White Sox offense. They're not going to be able to keep it up.
One of the more popular pitchers on today's slate is Kevin Gausman, especially following Bowden Francis last night, tossing a one-hitter. Many going to the Kevin Gausman well. 8 innings against Baltimore last time out, held them to just 2 runs. Had that start against Texas where he threw a complete game. Are you in 9K for yet another struggling but talented starter?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super in. I get the reasoning behind it just because it is kind of a tough pitching slate. Some of the other guys that I do like around, like Nestor Cortez, and I'll talk about Eduardo Rodriguez here in a second too. Yeah. They come with a lot of risk, and Gausman's a guy who we've seen be an ace before, and we've seen some good outings from him recently too, but we've also seen a lot of bad ones. Yes. And the 2 strikeouts in the last 2 games is tough, and I realized that was against the Yankees, Orioles. Now he gets the Angels. It's a good matchup. We know he can be good, but man, it's just been so hit and miss this season that paying $9K for him when I think there's a good chance he goes out and just doesn't have it again and gives you no points. It's a tough one for me to swallow.
Yeah, I agree with you there for sure. Anthony, I have a question on FanDuel. Ask about Bailey Ober. Bailey Ober's been on fire lately. So if you want to go throw some Bailey Ober today on FanDuel, no arguments here. You talked Erod. He made his return, 5 2/3, only threw 65 pitches in that start, so maybe there's some concern there, but he gets Colorado. Don't love the 1 strikeout, but he is a guy that has historically had a decent strikeout rate. Where are you with Erod today in terms of pitch count expectation? And then obviously you said you liked them, $8,700 here.
Yeah, Obviously, 65 pitches, not a lot, but I think, we're going to see him ramping up. So he won't be, I think, let him loose yet, but hopefully it's more like 80 plus pitches type of thing, which in this matchup against the Colorado can be plenty enough for him to do a lot of damage. And yeah, one strikeout, but look, this is against a Guardians team that is really good. They don't strike out a lot. They're really good against lefties. And remember, Erod did not have any ramp up. Like, there were no rehab games. So it's not like he had no spring training. He didn't have any minor league games for rehab to come up. He just showed up and they threw him against Guardians. Yeah. So the fact that he did that, went 5 2/3, only gave up 3 earned runs. Like, I really think that he's going to be okay. And now getting to face the Rockies, who are just really, really bad against lefties. They strike out so much. I think, the pitch count will continue to go up. We'll see some strikeouts this game, actually. And I actually like this price here for Erod.
We got a couple questions in chat about Zebby Matthews getting called up to make his debut here. Thoughts on Matthews?
Yeah, I mean, it's always intriguing, thinking about going in for the guy that's making his debut. You kind of never know what's going to happen. Sometimes they've got that adrenaline working and they come out and dominate. But he has some strikeout stuff, but he hasn't even been that great in the minors this year. No. I mean, he was pretty good in AA, but then they gave him the move up to AAA, and in 19 innings, it's been pretty rough, actually. So now he makes the jump up and has to face the Royals. Like, again, there's upside there. He does have really good stuff. He has the strikeout potential, but it's against a Royals team that doesn't strike out. Yeah. So I think I would rather just watch and see what happens and not have to worry about putting him in my lineup.
Yeah. Anthony talking about, he had mentioned Ober. Obviously, it's Zebby Matthews starting today, so bad on us for not even connecting the dots right away. But then he said he's going with Seth Lugo. Where are you on Seth Lugo today? Because I've seen some people tweet about him. Minnesota lately against right-handed pitching have been pretty damn good over the last month. Obviously, no Byron Buxton. He left yesterday with some hip discomfort. Lugo has been good against the bad teams lately. Pitched well against Detroit, well against Chicago. Struggled against Red Sox, struggled against the Cubs. Do you like him today against Minnesota on the road?
I think he's just too expensive here. Again, he's having an awesome season. I really like Seth Lugo, but like you said, Minnesota's been pretty solid against righties. And we see, the teams he's gone against are actually decent. Like, he's faced the Red Sox twice in his last 5 starts, and they crushed him pretty hard. The Cubs hit him pretty hard. And, the strikeouts have been down the last couple of starts. So he's not a big strikeout guy always, even though we've seen some really big strikeout games this season. That I just don't know if I see a ton of upside here for 9,300, even though I do really like Lugo as a pitcher.
Yeah, I agree. Where else are you going to pitching today?
There's not a ton. It gets pretty ugly here towards the bottom. One guy, I might consider is Paul Blackburn here, pitching for the Mets, going against his old team, Oakland. We know Oakland can, cause some damage with the homer, but I like Paul Blackburn's talent. He's on the better team now with the Mets, gives you some win potential. And at 7,500, it's cheap enough that I think he provides some upside that I'd be willing to take a shot with him.
Yeah, I like him. And honestly, I don't mind testing the waters with Kyle Harrison here. Yeah, the strikeout rate for Atlanta only got worse yesterday against left-handed pitching over the last month. It was at 33%. And then Blake Snell went out there through 6 no-hit innings and had, what do you end up with, like 12 or 13 strikeouts for giving up a couple of hits there. Harrison obviously has had some up and down outings. He also faced Colorado and had 11 strikeouts, so we know what a ceiling can be. We've been high on his talent. We just haven't seen consistency. Atlanta just really cannot touch left-handed pitching right now, so I'm willing to run back with Kyle Harrison tonight.
Yeah, I totally see it. And again, Atlanta can always still hit you. They have the power. Like, they might all of a sudden hit 3 homers off him because they could still do that. But they could also go out there and, strike out 10 times potentially against Harrison. Because, he has the strikeout stuff. And, over 35% strikeout rate since the All-Star break for the Braves against lefties. That is bad. So, knowing that he has the talent, why not take the shot against a team that has not proven that they can hit lefties right now?
Agreed. Anybody else for you?
No, that is pretty much it for me. I think, those guys we talked about are really the ones I'm going after. I think the rest of these guys here just don't really provide the upside and have some rough matchups that I don't want to touch them.
Agreed. Catcher. Yesterday, obviously, we had the $2,100 play with Del Castillo for the Diamondbacks here. They bumped his price up a little bit. Plus, it's a lefty, probably not going to be, I would assume, in the lineup. And Corey Lee did homer yesterday, and if you're not buying into Nestor Cortez, $2,300, like he has a little pop in his bat. You know, I'm not suggesting playing a lot of White Sox, but when I built some lineups today, he was my punt catcher of the day at $2,300.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Obviously, I like Nestor Cortez, and I'm leaning towards him. I think Corey Lee is the only White Sox player I'm considering today. But yeah, 2,300. He's batting 6 in this lineup. He's got 2 hits in each of the last 3 games, including that homer yesterday. You need a punt catcher. This seems like the obvious place to go.
Yeah, that was my initial thoughts. Where else are you looking at catcher tonight?
Yeah, I think that, the middle really provides some good options. I still like Freddie Fermin here, going against Matthews in that debut. He just continues to provide pretty good value here in the middle. It's not insane or anything, but batting 6 in a really good Royals lineup, he just keeps kind of adding value. I also like Gary Sanchez here, just $100 more than him facing Gavin Stone.
Yeah.
He keeps batting right in the heart of this lineup and is hitting super well.
Agreed. Yeah, and Stone's starting to slip a little bit here. I don't mind some Brewers for sure. First base, we go. Ohtani got the homer last night, $6,600 for him. Vlad Jr., $5,500, didn't homer, but had 2 hits and a double. You got Salvi Perez against Matthews making the debut, Freeman, and then Pascantino all up over 5K.
Yeah, I don't think there's really a poor option here. I think Vladdy's probably my favorite just because, going up against a Fulmer and he just continues to crush the ball. But at this top end, they're all so great. I like the Dodgers against Colin Ray. I like the Kansas City Royals going against Matthews here again with Vinny P and Sal Perez. I think both provide really great value too.
If you're working your way down the first base tier, we get into the mid-range. Anybody for you stand out?
Yeah, I like Rhys Hoskins here against Gavin Stone. I think Gavin Stone's been struggling, and I just think there could be a lot of runs in this game. I like the value that he brings at 4K. But my favorite is probably a little below him. And we're just sticking with Josh Bell, man. This dude continues to absolutely crush. He's been awesome since joining the Diamondbacks. And yeah, this matchup here against Austin Gomber, I love the Diamondbacks. Sucks that Ketel Marte is probably not going to be in the game today because he's off getting an MRI for his ankle. But man, Josh Bell just continues to be awesome for 3,700. Well, he's in the heart of this lineup and keeps producing. I don't know why you wouldn't just keep returning to the well here.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And obviously, Arizona is going to be one of our favorite stacks of the day here in this matchup against Austin Gomber. We'll get to second base. We were going to get to second base. Ketel Marte obviously left yesterday's game with that ankle injury. So we'll see with the rest of Arizona today. But Bell, for sure, a good part of lineups. Again, I don't mind if you're going against Nestor Cortez, Andrew Vaughn hitting cleanup here. Good numbers versus lefties. Nathaniel Lowe, Cutter Crawford's been giving him a whole lot of home runs, as much as it pains my Red Sox fandom to say. So certainly would not be too afraid to go there either.
Yeah, absolutely. Cutter Crawford has given up 13 home runs in his last 4 starts.
Yes.
That's absurd. So yeah, definitely willing to take some of these Rangers bats there. And I hope Cutter Crawford figures it out as a Red Sox fan also. But man, yeah, I definitely wouldn't be afraid of stacking against him with his current homer problem.
Yeah, 100% agreement with you there. Anybody else for you at first?
No, I think that pretty much covers it for what I like. Yeah.
Second base we go then. As I mentioned, we were in on Ketel Marte last night on the preview show. But obviously him leaving that game with an injury, probably unlikely to play tonight. So you have Semien, you have Willie Castro leading off, Cronenworth here, Michael Garcia. What are your thoughts at second base tonight?
Yeah, I don't hate Marcus Semien here at the top. Obviously this is a pretty not star-studded part of second base because without Marte, like Semien being the top at only 4,800, but hey, that price isn't crazy for a guy that's leading off. And like we said, going against Cutter Crawford, even though he hasn't been fantastic lately. So I really, don't mind paying for him at the top. I also like going back to the Brewers here and Bryce Terang, another player who has been kind of cold lately. But I just kind of like this.
Kind of a little bit of an understatement. He has been very cold.
Really cold lately. But, I believe in the talent still. I like this matchup. So especially if I'm going to go with some other Brewers, I don't mind paying the 4,400, but
he's leading off again, so like they're not too concerned about his current cold streak either. So exactly. I'm kind of with you. I really like Jackson Chourio tonight in this matchup. So You could do a little 1-2 with Turang and Chourio, or as you mentioned, Rhys Hoskins. We'll talk about some other players in that Brewers lineup as we move through as well. But good shout there. David Hamilton still leading off with Jarren Duran with his suspension. Again, we know there's a lot of speed. He walked last night, stole a bag, scored a run. So, doesn't necessarily have to get hits to be productive. You'd like him to get hits. I mean, this is sort of the hitter we expected to see get called up, not the guy that started 2 months into the year, but is leading off tonight and, a spot where maybe he gets it going against Jose Urania.
Yeah. Also, Brendan Rodgers here. I talked my love for Eduardo Rodriguez, but if you're not on him, again, not going to be on a lot of Colorado bats today. But for 3,700, this dude has been on fire. He's crushing the ball right now. So for $3,700, I'm kind of willing to take the shot on him.
I agree. Yeah, 421 to 1,100 OPS over the last 10. This is a guy, hits lefties really well. Historically, he's been a home lefty guy. You see the home splits there, 342, 877. The hour coming off of obviously a strong home series. Then he goes last night homers in Arizona. So happy to run back with Brendan Rodgers there with you. I don't mind Massey leading off at 4K if you want to go there. Jeff McNeil homered off Louis Castillo over the weekend. He's $3,400. Gavin Lux is still hitting fifth. He's $3,400. So definitely some good value plays as you work your way down second base.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Lux a lot there. Obviously, I've given a lot of love to Lux this season, but that Dodgers lineup is all of a sudden getting a lot scarier. Now, if you add Mookie back, he's batting fifth, and it's actually before, if he was batting fifth, the Dodgers lineup, there was no one around him. But he's batting fifth after Teoscar and now before Will Smith today, in the heart of some really good hitters. That really helps his value. So I like the 3,400 for Gavin Lux for sure.
I agree. Third base, we got Devers at $5,900, Austin Riley at $56, Machado 51, Chapman 5K, Chisholm I don't think will play today, but we'll see $5,300 for him. All of those guys are fine. I still look at Royce Lewis at $4,900 though, and like that price tag a lot.
Why is he $4,900? I get he's not homering every single day like he was for a while. But we're talking about a guy that was well over $6,000 when he was up earlier in the season. And look, he hasn't been absurd, but tell me what he's done to not be worth over $5,000. This doesn't make any sense to me. And Lugo's a good pitcher again, but he's not one I'm scared of. And this just seems criminally too low for a guy that I don't know why wouldn't be priced up near that $6,000 range still.
Yeah, there was a tweet last night. Royce Lewis's per 162 average this year, 61 homers, 138 RBI. So this guy should be $5,500, not $4,900. So yes, give me some Royce Lewis. No, nothing against any of the other guys above, like Devers, like Machado. Those guys are fine, but getting under 5K Royce Lewis to me feels pretty strong. I feel the same way about the Texas guys. Again, Cutter Crawford's going to give up a home run today.
Yeah,
probably goes to Corey Seager, but you know what? Josh Young has certainly some home run ability. We've seen Josh Smith hit some home runs this season. So if you want to go and get your Rangers exposure against Cutter Crawford tonight, you can do that too.
Yeah, exactly. Especially, Josh Smith, you're batting third for only $4,000. And doesn't have the power that your Corey Seager and your Simeon and your Adolis Garcia have. But the fact he's batting third in this lineup against Cutter Crawford, who's been struggling for only $4,000, makes him really intriguing to at least throw in there with whatever other Texas guys you decide to go after.
I agree. The only other ones I'd just toss out here to you, Nick Sogar has been pretty good for Boston since getting called up. Had 2 hits and an RBI last night. $2,800 if you're just looking to punt and get some Boston exposure, because I think the Red Sox offense is in a good spot against Jose Urania here at home. So if you wanted to find a way to spend down, you can play him at second or third. And then again, I'm just fine going against Nestor Cortez if you're not a believer in him. Miguel Vargas is 26. Sosa's leading off second and third base eligibility at $2,400. So just some dart throws for value if you want to go there.
Yeah, absolutely. Eugenio Suarez at 3,800 against Gamba too, I think is not terrible. And, really cheap too, but in a good lineup. DJ LeMahieu has kind of gotten some hits recently. It hasn't been great for the most part, but going against Jonathan Cannon in a strong Yankees lineup, as long as he's back in the lineup again, which I'm sure he will be. It's a decent punt play too.
Yeah, someone we had looked to build lineups around the other day was Oswaldo Cabrera, and then he wasn't in the lineup. If he finds himself in the lineup tonight, I don't mind that spot for him at $2,600, second and third base eligibility. Will hit from the left side there against Cannon. Shortstop's ridiculous, obviously. Now, Mookie Betts is not a shortstop. They're playing in their outfield, but They got him still here, so we'll see if that ever adjusts. But Witt, Betts, Seager, Lindor, pick your poison here. I still think Seager's my guy, but no offense to any of the other plays here.
Yeah, Seager's definitely my guy too. Just again, we talked about the horrible Cutter Crawford homer problem, but not only that, like Seager has 7 homers in his last 10 games. Like he's homering more often than he's not currently.
Right.
And we get he's on these hot streaks. Corey Seager's insane. So when you get him for 5,400, he's the pick. But yeah, if you want to go Bobby Witt Jr., if you want to go Mookie Betts, like you're not stupid. Those guys are really baseball.
Would not blink a second if those guys were in your lineups here tonight.
Yes.
Moving on down, anybody stick out to you in the mid tier?
Yeah, I really like Willy Adames too. He's at home against a righty. So again, we talked about liking the Brewers, and man, when this guy is at home versus a righty, he can bring some power. So I like him in this matchup.
Yeah. Again, a good spot in Gavin Stone. Starting to struggle a little bit. You have the Red Sox guys down here as well. Ernie Clement led off the other day. Could go with him. And then Gerardo Perdomo, he led off, and Marte was out of the lineup the other day. Probably leads off here again tonight at the matchup against Austin Gomber. Talking about spending up for some Diamondbacks, especially in the outfield. Perdomo pretty cheap here at 28.
Yeah, he is definitely my favorite cheap play. Just I liked him with the fact that he was leading off yesterday, and that was against a righty. And now he gets the lefty. If he's leading off again, he's much, much better against left-handed hitters or pitchers. So like him even more so at 2,800. So like that. Also, all throughout Orlando Arcia, even though we talked about being kind of in on Kyle Harrison too, but another cheap play of a guy that just does hit lefties super well. In that lineup, if you kind of want to fade Kyle Harrison, he definitely is a really good cheap option that has been hitting well and is good against lefties.
Sure. Outfield we go. Obviously, Judge, Ohtani, Soto. The Yankees were wildly frustrating. They had like 15 men left on base. They had the bases loaded like 3 or 4 times, and nobody could ever come through. More than happy to run it back with pretty much anybody here, 5K and above, honestly.
Yep, 100%. You can't go wrong. Yeah, don't be as scared of going back to Judge and Soto if you want to throw them both in a lineup, even though yesterday, I know I stacked Yankees yesterday, and it was infuriating. It was rough. But look, it's the White Sox. They have nobody. Jonathan Cannon has not been a good pitcher. Do not be afraid to go right back to him here today.
Yeah, the White Sox started last night, had 7 walks at one point in time, and like 1 earned. How is this happening? Like, where's all the runs coming from? They never came there. Under $5,000 plays that are sticking out to you here tonight?
Obviously, you want to throw Stanton in there with the Yankee guys. That's pretty solid. Teoscar as well. Again, with the Dodgers, really good lineup. You have some guys in these just low 4Ks that are like a little cheaper than the studs in their lineups, but are still crazy good hitters in good matchups here today. And after them, I really like both the Jacksons today, Jackson Merrill and Jackson Chourio. Jackson Merrill just continues to be a stud. He's really just looking like a big part of this Padres offense, and I think this matchup is super good. Luis Ortiz has been pitching pretty good for the Pirates, but his biggest problem has been giving up homers to lefties. So Jackson Merrill coming in with showing some power lately. I like him. And
Jackson Merrill winning games with his bat and then winning games with his glove last night as well in center field. So can't go wrong there for sure. And then I'm in on Jackson Chourio. Down here at $4,000 again, been really good lately. Power speed combo, hitting in the top half of that lineup, hitting second tonight against Gavin Stone. So I'm definitely good there. You have Yoshida hitting second. If you want to go Yoshida, Weiler, Abreu, 2-6 against Jose Urena, that is fine for me tonight as well. Down there in the mid range, Minnesota bats again. If you're a believer in what Minnesota's been doing lately, and Lugo struggles, like you're going to want some Wallner and Larnick and mix them in with Royce Lewis and crew there. So definitely some value in the 4K that you can build around.
Yep, absolutely.
Any value under 4K guys for you?
I think there's some good places to go. Obviously, we like those Oakland outfield bats. If you aren't in on Blackburn going against his old team, JJ Bleday and Lawrence Butler, they're at 1-3. Again, they're so cheap and continue to hit pretty well. So I think they pretty much every day provide really good value. I also really like MJ Melendez. Again, he's facing the call-up in Matthews, but man, he just continues to hit well recently. This is what we expected from him to do this season, and then
It
he's
is,
been
yeah.
for most of the season so far. But I'm not surprised that he started to figure out, and I won't be surprised at all if it sticks and we see this guy continue to hit well and climb up and be back around like a 4K hitter again after not too long, because that's what he can be.
Yeah, this is certainly a very surprisingly disappointing season from him at the plate overall. But yeah, these heaters that he goes on, it's one of the reasons why we thought he was going to be a 25 home run hitter this year, for Kansas City when you were drafting him for seasonal. So I'm with you there. I like him a lot. Again, McNeil is there, $3,400 if you want to go. I'm checking. I assume he's in the lineup tonight, and Garrett Mitchell, but let me check real quick. Brewers. Where's the Brewers lineup? He is. Mitchell's hitting behind Adames, so if you want to go there at $3,200, just another lefty bat for Brewers. We had someone in our chat said they liked the Brewers here today. Keith, liking the Brewers. We're with you, man. We like the Brewers tonight as well. And then I see through you talking about Benintendi crushing. Now, this is a lefty-lefty matchup for Benny Biceps, but $2,800 hitting third.
Yeah, man, Andrew Benintendi remains to be one of my favorite players. Just obviously a Red Sox fan. I loved him when he came up. I still just love the guy, but he's also been one of the worst hitters in baseball pretty much the entire season.
The launch angle epidemic ruined him because he was just like a hard line drive guy. Like he would have been a 20 home run hitter, but not like a 30 home run hitter. And then they were like, no, we're all doing launch angles. And it just broke the plane of his swing, and he just could never fix it.
Yeah, this is a guy that I was convinced at one point was going to win a batting title because that's how good his plate skills were. Like his bat to ball was just so good coming up.
He was the nation's leading hitter coming out of college, and he hit ridiculously well for 2 years. And then they brought in it's like the old Dodgers hitting coach that was all about launch angle, and he was done. He couldn't figure it out. So
yeah, but love the hot streak. Obviously, the lefty-lefty matchup is tough, but for $2,800, if you want to take a shot on him continuing it, you never know. He hopefully can, turn things around and still have a decent career here.
I agree with you. Let's get a lineup build going on. We appreciate again you guys tuning in. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat. We appreciate all your support here. Starting pitching, Michael King, I think was our top guy that we were plugging in.
Yeah.
Where did you want to go for your SB2 today?
I probably like going to Nestor Cortez just because of all of the options that I like. He is the cheapest one. I think he just provides the strikeout upside, and I'm going to trust that the White Sox cannot do what they did yesterday.
Alrighty. So that gives us 4K then. Value plays here. You like Furman, you said, right? Furman's 6?
Yeah, I do like Furman. That does get rid of our Corey Lee punt play with taking.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't go Nestor Cortez. I would have done Kyle Harrison as the punt play. But Josh Bell's $3,700. Get some value there. Perdomo. I guess the question is, do we want to spend up for any of these shortstops? We liked Seager, or did we want to go down for Perdomo? Where is he? 28. What did you want to do here?
Oh, yeah. Seager excites me a lot, but man, this value of Perdomo against the lefties, if he's leading off for the Diamondbacks, I think is too good to not pass up.
Yeah.
Or to pass up.
All right. So we got that here. Benintendi, $2,300 maybe on FanDuel today. He's $2,800 over on DraftKings. So, all right. So we got $4,400 to play. Third base, we like Royce Lewis.
Yeah. If we can afford Royce Lewis there. Okay. Yeah. And second base, maybe we go cheap play here. We could go Brendan Rodgers since we're not going Eduardo Rodriguez, who's on the hot streak, or even Gavin Lux against Colin Ray.
Let's go Brendan Rodgers here. He's been really good. That gives us $4,500. I liked Chorio, and then Merrill, right?
Yeah, put both the Jacksons in, and that should leave us still a decent amount of money to get someone good.
We can go Doyle. Just go a little Brendan Rodgers Doyle stack.
Sure. Yeah, they're both great hitters.
Would you rather Teoscar and Lux or Doyle and Rodgers?
Ooh, Teoscar and Lux.
Okay.
Yeah. I like both those little stacks, but I lean the Dodgers one.
That works for me. So that gives us $800. Let's see. What do we got to capture here? Not a
Wells.
Go Sanchez?
Yeah, I mean, we still have $700.
We still have $700. That's true. We didn't really do much with that difference there. I guess we're probably just good then, right? We don't really have much else we could go to here, so we'll leave the $700 on the table. You guys can play around with it if you want. We got King, Cortez, Sanchez, Bell, Lux, Lewis, Perdomo, Chorio, Merrill, and Teoscar Hernandez for everybody here. Guys, if you have any questions, get us in the Discord. Follow us over on the X Machine. Make sure you check out Henry's Playbook, which you can find live over on Fantasy Alarm. Until then, everybody, we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll catch you later.